G'day, punters. Welcome to the deep dive powered by puntingforms.com. That's not right, Peter. G'day, punters. Welcome to the deep dive powered by puntingform.com.au, Australia's number one database. Bruh. It's what Pete uses. It's what I use. And we're going to start over in Perth where Punting Form's telling me that the front bar, 1,000 metre race one, has run a bigger figure than the Group 1 Winterbottom winner in Graceful Girl. The biggest figure of the day, however, Pistol,
Yep.
you're telling me, was actually an emergency for the Winterbottom, and that's Triple Missile, who's gone 10.5 above the all average, which, as we spoke about last week, is a pretty big number for Perth.
Absolutely. Very big figure. As you said, the front bar over 1,000. That horse has produced a massive figure. That's gone to a new level this preparation. That's a serious horse. Probably see it in these races, the Winterbottom next year. Triple Missile. This is how my brain works, right? So I wanted to back Resort Man in that race that Triple Missile won. It's gone really well first up. It's gassed out over the last 200. Follow it next start. I think it's come back really well. But I would have backed Triple Missile into Winterbottom, but it didn't get a start. But I didn't back it in race 3. Not sure.
Why is that?
Oh, I
don't
preferred the map of Resort Man. I thought Triple Missile was probably about the right price. In the end, it was marginal value at the death. I think he got out to 380 late on the fair. Secret Plan and Triple Missile are viewed as being much the same horse in terms of where they were going to map, the runs they got last start. Secret Plan obviously had a slightly better run, but Triple Missile, the start before, was better than it. So, they're basically the same horse. I had them marked the same price as a result. But Triple Missile's got enormous here. In fact, it and All Day Session, who's run second, and arguably should have gone closer. They were the two emergencies for the Winterbottom, and they've posted bigger overall figures on the day. So I don't think it necessarily says much about them. They're obviously both very accomplished sprinters, but I think it says a lot about what the Winterbottom was as a race. The first 5 across the line have basically settled in the last 6, 7 in run. There's been a mid-race slowdown with 1.5 to 1.6 seconds slowdown there going in towards the corner with Will Chino, which was backed pretty heavily.
Oh, let's talk about that for a second. Obviously, we're going to go all over the place today because that's what we normally do every day.
Yeah.
But we backed the Bleeder, which was Elite Street, and in the lead up in the last sort of 30 minutes, it's late in the day, especially, when you're betting like I am at Caulfield all day. There was a lot of money for the stablemate.
Yeah.
And, that scares the shit out of me. And I kept trying to not annoy you, but I was trying to convey, hey, mate, I'm pretty nervous here.
I mean, it was an interesting move because it wasn't a day where you wanted to be inside. You had to really get out of those inside 4 lanes in the straight. It was difficult to win on speed. In fact, the only horse that won on speed was there was Maricino, and then there was also No White Flag, both ridden by Sean McGrady. That just shows how good he is on the leader. The rest of the day, it was really difficult to win inside or on speed, and yet Will Chino's crumbling in price. And look, the money wasn't wrong in a sense. If you were trusting on what it did last start in the start before, then it had to be firm in the market. The problem was, though, it was just profiling to have that flat run. Very fast tempo after very fast tempo. 1,200 was always an issue. Tick that box last start, then had to come back and do it again. Gate 1, there was a few little queries there. The horse is a little bit slow away, and all of a sudden Chris Parnham finds himself leading on the horse because no one else wanted to go forward and lead, which, astonishing. You've got the favourite drawn 1, isn't quick away, and all these other jockeys are looking going, hang on, we'll just wait for you to catch up. No, just get across and bury it. That's your best chance of winning, surely.
Especially considering that apart from that no white flag, now white flag. Apologies, punters. Is the only horse that's led and all settled rails and run and competed in the finish. So, if you're riding...
Overall, that move is weird.
2 things come to mind. How frustrating it must be is that tactically you can see what should happen and it doesn't happen. Because, in Melbourne, this horse is going to be buried.
Yeah, exactly.
And how does the market keep steaming this thing when it's going to be rails and run and that's not the place to be?
Yeah, it was almost just trusting that last figure as if it was going to reproduce it. Now, look, none of this field has reproduced their last figures if you want to go out of those fast run races. so many of the horses weren't suited in run. There's just a car crash on the corner. There's horses blocked for runs all over the place. Elite Street, for all intents and purposes, was winning the race on the turn.
Oh,
And then
it was winning the race.
um,
I thought it was. I thought full credit and genuine full credit to Bradbury Willer. It
yeah,
was a calm, calculated veterans ride. It was perfection until the
yeah,
horse bled and stopped.
yeah.
I thought I was very, very impressed with the whole thing, to be honest,
And
until
look,
it stopped.
you have a look at the last three runs of this preparation. Elite Street would have won the race if it produced any of the final split or the overall figure that what it's done so far this preparation. It's basically lost 4 lengths in the last 200, and that's been pretty conservative.
So what we're sort of saying there as well is that basically we were right,
Yes, but you can't always be right. There's always the little,
but this time we were.
yeah, yeah,
Because and to articulate what Peter's talking about with the mid-race slowdown, the race leader went 10:48 from the 800 to the 600, which is as fast as horses can go, just about. And then from the 600 to the 400, the race leader went 12 seconds,
yeah.
which is an enormous slowdown. So it's like those horses lead, one off lead, behind lead are like getting flushed backwards as the horses in the three wide line are still building that same amount of momentum. It looks like they're accelerating, but they're actually just maintaining the same tempo, but they're getting to sit a lot closer to the lead, and they've got that good, powerful momentum.
And if you compare that with the sectionals of the winner, it's 10.56 from the 8 to the 6, and then 11.72. So that's a much more normal split as what you'd see on that corner. But the difference is, zero point 0.4 of a second or so. It makes it really tough for those on speed to deal with that. And look, the run of Indian Pacific, that was 3 wide, no cover, had a mid-race slowdown, and is still run 6th, is absolutely enormous.
Yep.
Which you've seen over East before. Indian Pacific, he probably hasn't produced his best figures this preparation, but that was a big run, and
We might have backed it or looked to back it down the straight.
he ran second in a Group 1 off the top of my head. Or was it a Group 2? But yeah, he went enormous at 20 to 1 or so, and I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up back over Eastern so he can have some Flemington preps. A bit like Malibu style did for all those years.
Yeah. Just a little bit off topic, but obviously the only topic that matters. How has the wagering changed with the minimum bet laws?
It has to a certain extent. I actually noticed a few races on the day. I was thinking this looks a little bit stronger. There's a bit more happening on the fair, but I don't have any categorical numbers to back that up. And we've only had 2 meetings so far, but I'll look to do that probably maybe in early Jan. I'll run through, so I've got a good sample size and can run through what the fair's been doing late, because I think that's probably the best indicator. The fair's typically been quite weak in Perth, and even when they reduced commission on what you're paying on your winning bets, it didn't really seem to make any difference. But I suspect the minimum bet laws will make a difference when we get into that stage. It must also be said that a lot of the bookmakers are dragging their heels. I've had a number of complaints by people who are trying to get on for the minimum and have been palmed off by customer service, either by pure ignorance or just laziness on their part. So I think we saw that in Victoria and other states when that first came in. But pull your finger out. Let's get going already.
Yep. Well said. Anything else we should touch on at Ascot?
Look, it was a pretty solid meeting. I know this is usually the lesser of the 3 meetings for the carnival, for the 3 Group 1 meetings, but there was some very competitive racing. God Has Chosen is, again, doing everything right, but we still haven't seen him in a fast tempo race to really see what's underneath the hood. So, they're talking about a Railway Stakes campaign for him next year, so he still needs to prove himself over the fast tempos. Midnight Blue, although ran 4th, beaten as a short favourite in the JRA Trophy, is still very much on track for the Perth Cup. Just did everything he needed to. Wasn't really clear in the run and still run the 6th fastest last 4 and 2 on the card. So I think that's got a lot of merit. And yeah, like I said, we'll be following a couple of those horses out of race 3, no doubt, because that was an enormous figure and performance on the card. So yeah, solid meeting overall. Can't wait to see Western Empire in the flesh this Saturday and just wreck the Kingston Town Classic.
I think as like your punting ally, your closest, I am very excited for the next couple of weeks because There's a clear pattern here. It was fast, good racing, which is like genuinely strong form references, but there's a clear pattern that you'll be able to pick apart.
Yep.
And I'm pretty confident that you're going to have a good little run off the back of that fast racing, but the clear patterns that make it pretty easy to identify not suited and now might be suited.
Yeah, the track's playing perfect. It had a few slow meetings there to start with where it was a little bit choppy, but the track has been absolutely elite over the last month. So we're seeing that reflected in the data. Full credit to the Perth Racing track management staff.
Full credit. All right, now
Caulfield. Was there anything happening at Caulfield besides Glenn Boss retiring?
And giving himself full credit for the ride he gave Spanish Mission, which I thought was just phenomenal behaviour. It was absolute peak bubble bath and Dutch rudder and gear at Caulfield on Saturday. Everyone was extremely happy with their own work. Fancy getting rolled on a $1.50 shot and coming up and patting yourself on the back. That's amazing stuff. And no one questioned it. Play on.
Last day at school.
Bossy. Got his kit off. Only thing he kept on by the time he got in the jockey strings was his pants. He was half nude. It was amazing stuff. Scenes at Caulfield. Just let me read this to you, Peter. Spanish Mission.
Yep.
Performed below market expectations. Rider Glenn Boss reported that his mount travelled well throughout and relaxed until passing the 400 when the horse failed to respond to his riding as expected. A post-race veterinary examination failed to reveal any abnormalities. A swab sample was taken for analysis. Trainer Peter Moody reported the horse did not show a good turn of foot today.
Oh, really? Well, they've gone a million lengths slow.
Remember that bit. But had pulled up well and will be spelled for an autumn campaign aimed at not the Jericho. I'll just put that in there. He indicated that should anything come to light during the week which may have affected the horse's performance, he will notify the stewards. Well, something has come to light which would have hurt the horse's chances of performing well, and it's not in the stewards' report. I don't know why. This is a stain on the sport. It's a huge. The gap between fact and what is reported and accepted is widening, and it's humongous. I'm watching NFL on 3 screens right now, and if there's a drop ball, the referee, someone will go back and who's not even on the field and review it. Then the referee will communicate to me, the viewer, and teach me the sport. Right?
Yep.
It's a fact. This is embarrassing for the sport and for the growth of the game. So if a young punter or a new punter reads that and then clicks onto the punting form data or any sort of data or the .com data, Spanish Mission went 26 lengths slower to the 600 in this race than it did in the Melbourne Cup. 26 lengths.
Yeah.
It's as big a gap as I've ever seen. Spanish Mission closed faster at Caulfield, which would make sense, than it did at Flemington. It actually had a good turn of foot. The last 600 sectional is really solid. It's of a good horse. It did have a turn of foot, Peter.
Yeah.
Bossy, it did respond to your riding, mate, but it was just so slow early on that they all responded. Because you're on an elite stayer that the market sets a $1.50 chance because it's proven it can handle a proper tempo and outstay its rivals. It hasn't proven to anyone in Australia, maybe not even in Europe, that it can sustain a walk and then also sprint really fast.
What about poor old Warning? Led last start with Nash on board, going 10 lengths faster to 600. Here he doesn't lead, sits leaders back.
Cover, Peter. Got cover.
Got cover. It only just went 20 lengths slower than what it did start before. He must have just been going, am I even here? Am I awake?
It's astonishing stuff.
Yeah.
It's not good enough anymore. The sectionals are on the screen when I'm watching the race. Now, you can dispute whether they're right or wrong, but say they're within, a club or two of being right, they're good enough to use.
Yeah.
And it can identify why this horse failed, and going that slowly in a race isn't acceptable. And Like, full credit to Glenn Boss, an amazing career. One of the characters that got me hooked on the sport, to be honest. His rides on Mackay Diva were brilliant. His best is the best, I reckon, just about. But he is none from his last sort of 70. But the fact that he's so great and it clearly doesn't count, it scares me. Because he is top elite rider.
It's probably one of the great unknowns of racing, though, isn't it? If you can predict tempo accurately, you'd be a trillionaire.
100%.
Yeah,
like,
but no one can
he has
do
got
it.
the tempo completely wrong. A lot of them
Yeah.
have. He's then given himself full credit and got half nude. It's amazing. Like, it's just amazing. I think that the sport, though, as a whole, the data, the sectional data, which the .com to its credit is moving towards, and the betting data is what separates this sport as something to consume from other sports.
Yep.
But we can worry about all the other Dutch ruddering that goes on in this game, but this is the stuff that's going to move the needle and get new eyeballs. Like that, every other sport will follow the lead of the NBA and the NFL, the AFL, the NRL. It'll go to the next level, and that's what you're competing with on a Saturday for at least 2/3 of a year.
Yep.
So I just hope that someone who can influence this change sooner rather than later. I feel sorry for the stewards because they look stupid and they are not.
Yeah.
But they're doing the best they can with what they've got.
Okay, well, look, that was the disappointment, so to speak, of Zipping Classic Day, which is now at Caulfield, and, you know, all the other races were on the card as well. Like, Enthar's gone best of the day and in a listed race, and there was also Cinnawon in the last has gone well, and the Kevin Heffernan, but...
Oh, it's a confused, I'm coming from the mindset of, like, getting new people into the sport because I watched it with my dad, who's not a racing person. The Sandown Cup was run in race 2 at Caulfield.
Yep.
The Sandown Guineas was run. Like, it's just weird, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, look, I thought it was weird timing. I mean, I said it last week. For me, it felt like, as a neutral, as a West Australian, it felt like I've got no interest in this Caulfield meeting because the carnival's already finished, yet here are carnival horses running a month after the carnival's finished.
Yeah, so I think they've actually achieved their goal because it was a good meeting. There were good horses. I think Enthar's a really nice horse. I'll quickly review it, then let's leave it. Enthar, really good horse. John McNeil's ride on Stainham was elite. Johnny Allen's
great,
ride on Quantum Mechanic was really good too, but they went really slow in that race. And to Jai's credit, full credit to Jai, he was one back, one off, not last. If he was last, he's not winning. Great ride, Jai, and thank you because I needed it. We're going to cap off the winning months consecutively is going to end this month. We're going to lose, but it was nice to just win again on a Saturday. Thank you, Jai.
Couldn't find anything today to get yourself out of it?
No, well, full credit to Jackson for not ending. Full credit to Jackson for handling yesterday, which was Sunday, as well as he did. I don't think. Like, I could probably dig one up. I don't reckon I've ever provided a better set than what it was just about all him yesterday. Yeah. We took $5 into horses that started at $1.90, and we ended up spending 12.5 units, which could have returned a profit for the month just about, and we ended up losing 4. Back to the review of Caulfield, Peter.
Yep.
Enthar outstanding. Ollie's ride, the first 2-year-old, outstanding. Jai's ride on the Godolphin horse, not outstanding, so that was bad, Jai there. I think that they're the two that can be followed out of that race. Cinnawon, I think Enthar's a genuine horse out of the meeting. The Zipping Classics are just the tempos. Wow.
We backed Enthar early this prep, did we not?
I backed it to beat.
Was below expectations.
Another good horse. So it was all right at Flemington.
Yeah.
And it got killed by it. See, this was not to get too deep, but they can cut this off if you want. This is where it's getting confusing, where like the sort of systemized, automated as much as we can, so we learn and keep the same structure. It's not finding this sort of horse as much as I want them to find it. But this is ticking boxes to me. Like it's back around the bend. It's got a nice SP profile. The form's nice. The map's good.
Positive switches.
Yeah, I want to be with it, but yeah. So that's something internally that Jackson and I particularly, and you will be working on the next sort of couple of weeks.
Yep.
Whether that's like tinkering for different tracks a little bit more, or I'm not quite sure yet. But particularly Caulfield seems to be a track where you can, well, I can bend them to what I want with a lot more success than if I was to bend them to what I want at Moonee Valley or Flemington. I often am wrong.
Yep.
But if like that Gunstock, the Caulfield Cup Day, we didn't find it the standard way, but I wanted to back it.
Yep.
Things like that. But at Flemington, that's not working that way. The structured way is far superior. So yeah, that's just some of the more interesting stuff for us that people probably don't give a shit about. But I am looking forward to figuring that out, to be honest.
Okay. Well, week ahead, you've got Ararat tomorrow, Geelong Wednesday, Wangaratta Thursday. You've got Mornington and the Valley Friday, Pakenham, Stawell. Imagine you're probably going to be focusing more on Stawell on Saturday, and then Bairnsdale, as well as, is that Bendigo? I've got like a sponsor in front of it. No, Werribee. It's Werribee on Sunday. Yeah, you've got like all the sponsor. It's like, I don't know where that is. Oh, I've got to click it. There you go. I clicked it. It's Werribee Cup Day.
It's not an exciting week in Victoria. Pakenham is the worst Saturday meeting of the year every year.
Yeah.
Pakenham has just actually received a 2-month ban from Jackson and I. It received it on Thursday. It actually received it the week before, and somehow it slipped through. and little cheeky fucker got another one over us, but it's been banned for 2 months. So Jackson might go and do Mounting Up Mail, but I won't be watching it.
On the upside, though, the next 2 weeks, you've got Sandown Hillside Wednesday, Valley Friday night, Flemington Saturday. So you've got that the next 2 weeks.
It's glorious.
Yeah.
It's glorious. So you just freshen up, baby. And what's going to happen, Peter, is the captain's picks, which are going really, really well. If Elite Street didn't bleed, it would have been a big fat fill on Saturday, but profitable through the 2 weeks. Lost maybe a unit on Saturday. But be a lot of focus this week on picking apart your brain. Probably going to try and venture into Queensland with the assistance of Shane. Maybe New South Wales. I'll let them both go on Saturday because I was just like, it's too wet, surely.
Well, yeah.
And full credit to them. I think they both won and won well.
Yeah.
So full credit to everyone. Yeah. What else?
No, that's it. I think we've run out of credits to full. Or to Phil.
Yeah. Full credit to the interns. They're dominating. And we love them. And I appreciate them. I know you do too, Peter.
I do.
Full credit to Aaron Rodgers bouncing back. God bless you, Aaron. You ingesting big dog. And full credit to Gareth Hall, you're a hard working man. We admire that. That's probably all I got.
Bye for now.
I miss you. I miss you a lot, and I'm worried about this new strain of COVID and what McGowan's going to do. I don't think I'm ever going to see you again, am I?
I've got to make a call in Jan as to whether or not I get on
2022 is like, 2022 could be a bet, you know?
Yeah. Actually, the best case scenario...
No, 2023, I mean. All of next year might be fucked. He might not let you leave.
Best case scenario is
who knows?
I think COVID gets into WA and then it's like, well, what does it matter? And I'll just venture back, lock myself into my South Yarra little Sen garden and stay there for the next 4 years.
No, you're quarantining in the pod. Then you can go to South Yarra. I need to say, I miss you, little hut show.
We're just talking to ourselves now. It's great.
Yeah, well, hey, stop watching. And Yuri Trader or Frida Slaves, get in touch. Get on the show. Mum will let you.